Ready to go?
Ready to go. Yeah.
Perfect time.
Yeah. Well, good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, welcome. This is the Sanremo hub. So the idea of this space is that we can demonstrate the coffee machines and also do this through a coffee experience. By understanding the coffee, we can understand the value of the equipment as well. So I'm Hugh. I'm from Australia. This is Martin.
Martin from Kenya.
Martin is brand ambassador of Sanremo and also number 5 in the world Barista Championships. And I'm from Australia and I've competed a bit as well. So now I'm learning how to present again. So the idea of today is we're going to be doing some work with the filter coffee and demonstrating some of the work with the volatile aroma compounds that we've done with the university. So basically what Martin's going to start doing is he's going to start to prepare us some filter coffee. But before he does, you can see on the grinder we have 2 different coffees running. I've just been running espresso coffees 5-10 minutes ago. So we have one hopper and another hopper. It weighs the whole beans, and basically, for example, here I have 20.5 grams. It's weighed and ready to go. If I want to grind from this hopper, I click that button and it prepares me the shot for espresso.
Yeah.
So we can change all different variables and we can suit the grind setting to suit the different coffee. But then Martin's going to put it on the bypass to show that we have actually 3 grinders in one.
Okay.
So we use this for example, let's say espresso coffee and then another milk coffee. And then if we want to run single doses out of the freezer or filter coffees, we can go to this bypass and we can run single doses through here as well.
Okay, cool.
So I think that might be, yeah, cool. So
Hugh, how long is the X-One in production? Since when?
I think it's like 3-4 months.
Yeah, quite new.
But we've had this grinder in 3 of our shops in Canberra, running on the bar with no problems. So we're finally 8 years in the process. We've got it working. So basically what Martin's doing now is he's grinding the filter coffee at 600 microns. So that's that much coarser grind setting than we are for espresso. Now usually a grinder, you might, to get the best out of filter coffee, you might put a different burr set in there. But this one, it produces great espresso coffee, great milk coffee. But for filter coffee, to make this burr set work a lot better, we change the RPMs. So we're grinding at a lot lower RPM than for our espresso coffees. That's because we want that right grind profile for filter. Generally we get more vibrancy, more brightness and lift. It just tastes incredible for filter coffee. If I grind at 1200 RPM, which for example is around the EK43 grind RPM, you'll get bitterness and you get tannins. But if we drop the RPM, we don't get that. We get all the brightness and the juiciness that we want in our filter coffee. So you can see here we have one burr setting, one burr set. It's 98 mil burrs, so really big burrs, and they have no screw holes inside, so they're blind burrs. So this produces that really high quality grind profile. And then we can grind all of our coffees on the same burr set to get that high quality.
And the steel, is it hardened or coated?
DLC coating. So it lasts 10,000 kilograms and keeps the temperature super stable. So yeah, that's a lot. It's just 30-40% more than other grinders at that grind setting. So now basically we wanted to do this grinder as a single dosing grinder, not grind on demand like traditional grinders. Because when we grind coffee, you're releasing aroma volatile compounds. So we did a lot of research with Zurich University, so ZOR, basically on aroma volatile compounds with the coffee. So we're not just focused on grind profile with this grinder, we're focused on flavor outcomes. And we wanted to understand scientifically what the single dosing is doing to make our coffee taste better. So what we can see here on this graph, you have the different, and this will make a lot of sense to you as a chemical engineer, we have the different aroma volatile compounds. So these are our most volatile on this side. So the ones that release very easily. And then the ones on this side, they take longer to release. But these volatile compounds here contribute a lot to flavor profile in a coffee. So what we can see here, this is our reference point, the blue line. And then we have with the red line is 1 minute grinding. The yellow line is 20 minutes grinding. So you can see some compounds after 20 minutes are dropping down up to 50%. So we're losing flavor to the atmosphere when we grind coffee. So when you think about a regular grinder, the coffee sits ground in the burrs. You might have 20 to 40% of coffee sitting inside the grinder. So if that sits still for 20 minutes, you've lost up to 50% of some of your flavors. So
In the retention, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So some grinders might have 8 grams of ground coffee in the chute and in the chamber. So this is why we wanted to do single dosing, so that we only have fresh coffee each time. And the hoppers allow us to do in the cafe really efficient running of a single dose and also very accurate dosing. So there's no other grinder out there that is getting as accurate single dosing as this in this efficiency. So now we're going to have a bit of a taste of what aroma volatile compounds are going to do to taste on a more extreme scale. So start brewing.
I just want to interrupt, but I have one question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why you don't wash the filter?
Because we don't need to. We've done testing with the university on this as well, a lot of blind tasting. The whole paper taste thing, if you use certain paper filters, is a myth. So we actually, some coffees prefer no rinse. So it depends on the coffee. So what we're doing here is we're brewing the same coffee. This is from Panama, beautiful Panama geisha, and I'll explain what it is about this coffee when we're tasting. But basically we're tasting some of the effect of aroma volatile compound loss.
And why first the blooming and then the pouring?
So basically blooming, this coffee was roasted maybe 1 hour ago.
Yeah.
So the blooming's releasing the gases. And basically I go about 35 seconds for that fresh coffee. And then we'll continue to add 60 grams, 60 grams, 60 grams until we get to 300. But what you'll notice the difference here, Martin's brewing this normally, and I'm brewing over the frozen rock. So as we know, I'm sure you can smell the coffee brewing, right? Now that's aroma volatile compounds being released into the air. Similar to if we grind our coffee after 20 minutes. You smell the aromas, that's being released into the atmosphere. Now I want those aromas to be in our brew, not in the air. So I did my first 2 pours over the frozen metal rock to take some temperature off the extract. So this forces those compounds to stay in the liquid. So we measured with the university, some compounds, very volatile compounds, go up by 40%. It's anywhere between 15 and 40% for a lot of the key volatiles that we were measuring. So what we're gonna do is, you'll notice that I brewed the first 2 pours over the rock, because the first third of the brew is where we get around 80% of volatile aroma compounds in our brew. So I'm targeting that portion because it's where we're getting a lot of positive flavor. Similar to if we grind coffee, if we were to have it pre-ground, we're losing some of these positive flavors and aromas. So we're going to taste the difference between the extract chilled with the more volatiles versus the regular brew. And it will give you an understanding of some of the benefits of single dose grinding. So, why is this important for this particular coffee? Well, with specialty coffee, we roast, a lighter roast. We don't want to roast all the volatile compounds out of the coffee. So for this one, it's roasted on the link, very light, fast roast profile, because it's a geisha variety. We want that floral aroma. We want those beautiful, delicate qualities. So this is going to basically give us, more of the delicate characteristics in the brew. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off by tasting, we might go 6 cups, just for everyone sitting down, of your brew first. So you're good to go. So we're going to start off and taste together. Awesome. Martin's brew, and I gave myself the advantage. Awesome. So, so this coffee is from Panama. It's lost origin, so he's a beer brewer, an amazing beer brewer, but he buys coffee cherries from Panama producers. He gets them refrigerated transport to his brewery, and he does super controlled fermentations in his lab. So basically this was pulped, inoculated with a yeast that they use in lager to give these real juicy, fruity characteristics. And then he ferments over 7 days at low temperature. So this coffee is then dried indoors in a temperature and humidity controlled room to give you that beautiful caramel characteristic. So this coffee is washed. So it's not going to be a super big fruity coffee, but it is going to be quite delicate and quite refined. So when we taste this coffee, probably give it a second to cool down a little bit. We'll share. So I want you to pay attention to the back of the palate. This is where we're going to see a big difference between the first and the second. So it's very floral, it's very juicy, it has this grapey quality, but in the back it kind of grips on a little bit. Have you ever brewed a tea where you get that kind of grip? So this is always in coffee, but sometimes if you have a lack of aroma volatile compounds, you get that grip on the palate. Aroma volatile compounds will change the tactile feeling of a coffee. So this one has been extract chilled, so it's going to taste completely different. So use this as your reference point. And when you taste this one, you'll taste that this coffee is going to be juicier, it's going to be more vibrant. There's going to be less of this tannic grip, and it's going to be like a very different expression of that same coffee.
Yes, wow, totally different.
So different, hey?
Wow, wow, mamma mia.
So I'm assuming it's like juicier, it's fresher, it's more vibrant. So this is only aroma volatile compounds. The TDS is the same, the brewing style is the same.
Amazing difference. Wow.
So with this in mind, yeah, it's got so much nicer finish, hey. It doesn't grip on the palate as much. It's rounder, it's smoother. It has this like lifted white grape and almost pineapple quality, but then soft caramel and these delicate white flowers in the finish. It doesn't grip like an oversteeped tea. Yeah. So we can see here, the TDS would be the same, the grind size is the same, the water's the same. The only difference is aroma volatile compounds. So we think of grinding not only with grind profile and TDS, we also think about it with a university, with extraction, with volatiles, and which is why we developed this grinder to be like this. So yeah, it's all flavor based, and hopefully is anyone tasting anything in this coffee that I didn't talk about? It's very complex, beautiful coffee. So this shows the power of volatile aroma compounds. If you consider not only TDS extraction, if you consider volatile aroma compounds, they take your brain and they draw your attention towards different aspects of the coffee. So if I, for example, grind a coffee and I leave that to sit for a day and you extract, it's going to be very rough, very bitter, very heavy. And that's a tactile feeling, not related to compounds at all, but it's because your brain notices the bitterness, the roughness. But it's kind of like we have those things there, but we have these compounds, like you're looking up here, you don't even notice what's going on down there anymore. Your brain gets drawn to different aspects of the cup and you notice the higher quality. So that's one reason why the grinder is producing higher quality espresso, higher quality filter coffee, and why we wanted to do single dose grinding.
Yeah, that's the synaptic interconnection.
Exactly. Cool.
Yeah, because it's fruit from the jungle.
Exactly.
In a little bit higher altitude.
Exactly.
Lower altitude it's cocoa, and high altitude is coffee. Yeah.
So when we taste, for example, if you have a certain aroma volatile compound that reminds you of like confectionery, of candy, your brain, you might taste something with no sugar in it. And if it has that volatile compound in the liquid, your brain associates that with something sweet that you've tasted in the past, and you will perceive that liquid as more sweet. Or a different compound might make you perceive that liquid to be more acidic. So these compounds will affect balance of texture, of quality. So super important, and now you can kind of see that difference.
Wow.
Cool.
Hey, Kelly,
Thank you.
Martin, grazie mille. It's an honor. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Super cool.